All right, before I start, I just have one disclaimer. This is not the blueprint to stop employees from stealing. I'm just letting you know. I just have a few slides to sensitize you on the different areas that we're seeing. So Mr. A went through the definition, so I will not go over it. So what are the motives for insider threat? In most cases, it is for financial gains. And that is the reality of it. We live in a country that, you go to school, you get an education, and you get a job. But then when you have persons who are involved in more serious crimes, and you see them driving the flashy cars and so forth, sometimes as ethical as we are, some persons are easily influenced. And that is the reason why they are, influenced by the monetary gains. There's also the IP theft, and there's a sabotage when, an employee is dismissed and they are upset with the organization. But all is important, but mostly in Jamaica, we're seeing it for the monetary gains. So who can be an insider threat? So you have the privileged IT user, the director, the managers, the contractors, the consultants, so the employees. Oftentimes, we have seen it in the news. We have seen it in different organizations where you have some persons that have been there a couple of years before the company even started, after the company started. So these are very senior persons who maybe even know the company more than the CEO. So we have investigated 13 cases, I think from 2019 to present, concerning employees being complicit in the fraud. So let us look at some of the opportunities that persons actually exploited. So the first one, customers with large bank accounts balances. So like for me, if they are supposed to look in my bank account, they would, maybe they even curse me and say, big inspector, this is what him have in his account. But around this table right here, this table, no man, this table right here, you don't have to ask. Your account may be more, attractive. Not mine. I'm safe. Customers that are not technologically savvy. You're talking about the older persons. They can't send WhatsApp. They don't even, they're not computer savvy. They rely on their passbook. So every month they go to the bank and say, how much money I have? And they look on the interest, and then they go in their car and they go about their business. These are persons that employees will look and they will say, but no man, Mary Jane, 80, I give her 5 more years. What? She can't spend so much money. Or he can't spend so much money. And then all the different thoughts go in their head, and they talk to their colleagues and they say, no man, if we take 5 million out of 100 million, they're not going to miss it. And then it continues. So you have to also look at employees with overlapping roles and responsibilities. Oftentimes you see the same individual who is approving certain processes is the same one that actually initiated it. So these are things that we need to pay careful attention to. Weaknesses in internal processes and supervision. I remember treating with a case, and I'm hoping that the financial institution representatives are not here. And there was a document that was used to initiate a transaction that worth, I think it was over 200,000 US dollars. And to this day, they cannot say, how did that document even reach in the organization to be actioned? They don't know how it reached. It just went on somebody's desk and they type in, and the money went to different persons and then it was withdrawn. So I'm saying, in terms of your processes, just to see a document on your desk. You don't know where the document is coming from. There's no notation on the document, but yet the individual is out of 200,000 US dollars. For me, that is being sloppy. Very. Institutions that are significantly influenced by large network clients. And let me tell you what I mean by this. You have some institutions that their top 5 clients, based on their resources, they are able to dictate to the institution what policies should be implemented. And oftentimes why they shy away from some of these policies, is because they think it is taking up too much of their time. So they want it very easy. But at the end of the day, when they give it to them easy, and then their account is compromised, then you see it all over the media, and then you are the one that is left with the embarrassment. So it has to be straight across the board for every customer. Even if they threaten and say they're going to draw their money and they're going to leave and so forth, it is better for you to preserve your integrity and the integrity of your organization. All right, so I spoke about 13 cases. So I'm just giving you a breakdown of the cases. So 5 financial institutions, 6 government, and 2 private entities. And the private entities just mean non-financial entities. I know we're looking at the government, right? We're trying to figure out which cases. Huh? I know probably you probably think about 3 or 4, but yes, government entities as well. All right, so let us look at the figures. And I know the question, I know what we're thinking, so let me make it clear. That one is not up there. All right, that one is not there. All right, so I can hear the thoughts. That one is not there. All right, so government entities, over 600 million, US 5, financial sector, over 223 million, and then the private sector, 382. All right, so let me give you some examples of some of the frauds and how exactly they were perpetrated. So the insider is the one with the information. So I'm just thinking that maybe they're at work and they don't have anything to do, and they say, let me type in and see, how much money this person have. They may Google somebody's name, or they may always see the person come in the institution, and they look and say, what? This is a rich person, man. And then they start to look and see how exactly they can actually steal some of this person's money. Because it might be somebody that is not really paying much attention to their account. And that is the reality of it some of the time. So in another instance, the insider used legitimate credential to divert the customer's fund. So it's not about hiding. They type in with their login and then they send the money wherever because they know that the internal system is weak and maybe they will never get caught. But then when they wait and say steal the money now and live big, or get caught maybe 10, 20 years down the line, sometimes they say, let me steal the money now, because getting caught is not sure. It's not, you may never get caught. And that's the reality of it. So the insider exploit weaknesses in processes to divert the organization funds. The same thing I mentioned before. The document does magically appear on a desk, and then the person who got it didn't ask any question and action it. That is a serious, serious problem. The last one, the insider used expert knowledge to persuade superior to make a decision that was not in the best interest of the organization and ultimately benefited the insider financially. So this one is a government-related one. I'm not going to tell you the name, but at the end of the day, they knew certain things, and the gatekeeper did not ask certain questions. So they were able to persuade them or motivated them to make a decision that they believe was in the best interest of the organization, but really and truly, the insider line his pocket or her pocket. Let me not give it away by saying the sex of the person. And this slide now is a bit alarming. When you look in terms of how the breaches are detected, you realize 20% is network monitoring, 45% customers realizing that there's a problem, and then intelligence. But let us look at the network monitoring. To be fair to yourself, the different compliance officers that are here today, different persons from the financial institutions, what can we do to make things, better so that persons will think twice about, whether selling information or stealing money. There must be a gap why there's only 25%. So it's when Keith realized that his millions gone and made the alarm, that is when the institution will realize. If I had so much money and that happened to me, I'm going to be very, very upset, because from $1 come out of my account, you should have seen it. You shouldn't wait until when it is finished. So at the end of the day, we have to do much more when it comes on to having the different, whether it's software or if it is getting more staff, whether it's training, but we need to do better. Too much of these matters where, the insider threat is the issue. So the risk to an organization, the main one, reputational damages. Sometimes you have a small company. When I even look on a Mayberry, not a Mayberry, JMMB, and looking at the history of JMMB and where JMMB is right now, we could not have a bank now. Just imagine somebody tearing down that company when it was just a small company coming up. So at the end of the day, trust, confidence, you lose your customer, you can be sanctioned, bankruptcy, and even criminal charges. My time is up, so I'm running a bit fast. All right, so some of the challenges to law enforcement. Let me touch on one. Unwillingness of a third-party organization to cooperate with the investigation. So let me explain this quickly. Oftentimes, it's not just one organization. So the one that there is a monetary loss sometimes rely on another organization where there is the insider threat, where they provide information and they would conduct certain activities for them. For example, teleprovider. They may need a SIM to be swapped, right? It might be our same TAJ where they may need some fraudulent documents. So some of the time, there are some challenges in terms of going beyond the organization with a monetary loss. All right, some of the indicators. Let me look for a very nice one. The employee who is overly friendly. You have to watch out for them, Always helpful. No, man, I'll do that for you, man. I'll do it. I'll balance it for you. I'll do this. You have to be very careful. The one that don't want to take any leave. Why they don't want to take leave? Because they don't want anybody sit around them decks. Because if somebody sit around them decks, problem. Deviating from policies in the name of making processes easier for the customer. That is why you have SOPs and you have your policies, because it is one for everybody. So don't let it be easier for any customer, because at the end of the day, that is what they're going to use to exploit that same customer that they think they're helping. And I'm not talking about any specific case. So some of the mitigating strategies that we can use. So any bright person can tell me what KYE is? Yes. There's so much things we have to do to know our customers, so why we can't know our employees as well? It is so frustrating sometimes to open an account, and I know the reason for all the questions and the documentation. But we need to know our employees. Why we can't have a system in place where an employee tell you what his assets and liabilities. So at the end of the day, if you see him living outside of what you know about him, you can start to ask some questions and you start to look at him. What is wrong with that? Is it that we're being too intrusive? Know your employee, relative, and associates. Oftentimes, when the employees steal the money, at the cousin, we have an account at the same institution, but you don't even know it's the cousin. You don't even know that it's the brother, or the boyfriend, or the girlfriend. So why you can't ask that question as well? Regular auditing, direct confirmation of balances in account. So if you have some high network customers, like right here, send them there and ask them to confirm if this is their balance, Another thing, closer relationship between financial institutions. I think it is a bit better now, but there are still some institutions that they just want to operate in silos, and it cannot work. You guys have to be a network. You have to share information, share knowledge about anything that you would have discovered. And make examples of unethical employees. And I'm very happy about a lot of what I'm seeing in terms of the financial sector. Gone are the days when the bank would absorb the loss because they're thinking about reputational damages. We still have some that not really speaking up, but I would say it is very encouraging now. So so all in all, it is a very stressful topic when you have to go through so much to protect yourself from the outside threat. And then your colleague that is beside you, you have to be wondering if you can leave your laptop up or your computer up. Because next thing, the person sends some money from your login. So at the end of the day, my charge to the different institutions is that you have to do more when it comes on to knowing your employees and just implement the right strategies to prevent the different loss. Because Jamaica is a small country, and we just can't manage it too much. All right, thank you.